Hi, my name is Jenny Nats. I'm a CPO and a clinical educational specialist at Philhour. Today I'm going to go through what we need to make a custom dynamic walk. The custom dynamic walk is used for patients who doesn't fit into any of the off-the-shelf versions. This option is primarily a good alternative when the shape of the leg doesn't fit into the other options. The dynamic walk is never suitable for patients with contractures or who can't be aligned in neutral. To make a custom dynamic walk, we need a plastic cast, or if you prefer scanning, we can accept a positive foam model. If you do scan, you must send us the foam, as we don't have a carver. A digital file will not be enough. What I'm going to go through today is how to cast for a custom dynamic walk, but the same principles applies for scanning. The first thing you need to do is go into our website and download our order form. On this one, there is some measurements you need to fill in. You can either do them in millimeters or you can do them in inches. It's all up to you, but you need to stay consistent. What I'm going to be doing today is millimeters. We need to know the desired height of the orthosis. This is usually at the largest AP of the calf muscle. The reason we don't want to go higher is because the dynamic walk is a flexible orthosis and it needs to be able to move on the leg. Here we have the largest AP around here, and we'll measure up to here, and here we have 350 millimeters. This is the A measurement on the form, so it will be filled in under A. A good AFO needs to fit the patient as well as the shoe. The other measurements on the form are there to make the orthosis fit the shoe. The heel height of the shoe is the B measurement on the form. It's a difference in height between the heel and the forefoot. For most shoes, this is around 10 millimeters, but this can of course differ. The C measurement on the form is the desired length of the foot plate. This is not necessarily the length of the patient's foot, but rather the inner length of the shoe. To determine this, the best way is to use the insole in the shoe. You bring it out and you measure the length of it. For this shoe, the length is 270 millimeters. Mark the order form with 270 millimeters. The D measurement on the form is the width of the foot plate at MTP level. This one is also measured on the insole of the shoe. Here we have 95 millimeters. E measurement is the width at the middle of the heel. For this shoe, it's 50 millimeters. We use these measurements to make the foot plate fit the inner bottom of the shoe. The cast is used to make the brace fit the patient. We only ask for a minimum of measurements and you need to give us all of them. If you want to improve the fit of the foot plate even further, you can send us a trace of the insole. You bring out a piece of paper and you have the insole and you trace it. And you send this to us. If the dynamic walk is going to be used with the insole, you need to cast with the insole on the foot. This should also be marked on the form. The cast should be done in the seated position with only the weight of the leg on the foot. This will make it easier to achieve a neutral alignment, as well as it will make a cast that will be easier to fabricate the foot plate on. You need to cast the entire leg, the foot and the calf, and about 5 centimeters higher, so around here. This is important for fabrication. Sometimes bony prominences are not always visible on the cast, so this is why we want you to mark the malleoli, the fifth metatarsal head, and the first metatarsal head. You can also mark if there are any other sensitive areas which you want us to consider when you redesign the brace. To make the cast, we will need a cotton stocking for the patient's leg, some plaster, a protective strip to protect the patient's leg with when we cut. We need a pair of scissors. We need a cutter, a marker, some water, and a heel and toe wedge to make a good profile for the foot plate. To make a cast which will be stable enough, we need around 4 layers of plaster. And now I'm going to show you how to cast. Here, make sure you're above the line, about 5 centimeters above the height of the finished brace. When you're finished casting, make sure the cast is in neutral position in all 3 planes. You look in the sagittal plane, the frontal plane, and the transverse plane. Here you look so the foot is not rotated. This is important as we can't change the cast. If we do get a cast which is too far off neutral, we can't build a brace on it and the order will be rejected. You should also check that the plaster is stable so it won't deform. If it's too weak, reinforce the cast. You may use synthetic plaster, but it's the same thing here. Make sure it's stable and will not deform. Also check the cast is long enough. We need that extra 5 centimeters, so if it's too short, please lengthen the cast. Now you have what you need to complete the order. Send us the completed order form, the cast, and if you have a trace of the shoe insert. Make sure it's all marked with a patient reference you have put on the form. This is important to avoid mix-ups as we do receive many orders. Thank you for watching.